to the Mind and Money podcast. I'm Val, a financial planner.
And I'm Sherry, a financial coach. And today we're going to share a strategy about how to create some calm in your life, in your brain, when it feels like the wheels are just running and it's chaos and you're catastrophizing the shit out of things.
I love all of the C's. We've got chaos, catastrophe, and calm. And that makes my brain so happy. But often we can do that with, there's like lots of memes going around right now. And it's like an email came in and my nervous system thought that the bear was chasing me or
Oh yeah. Somebody needs to tell my nervous system that the fight or flight was meant for a bear chasing me, not for making a phone call.
Yes, exactly. So we want to share some tips and tricks that we use when we're in those catastrophizing moments. And Sherry has a recent story. I mean, we could recent story all day, but you start with yours.
The trick that I use when I start to find myself going down the spiral of, oh my God, all of the things are going wrong, I'm certain of it, is to ask myself, what is the absolute worst thing that could happen? And this may sound like the complete opposite of what we're trying to accomplish here, but I'm going to take the example of at the cottage, get a notification that the furnace, well, not that the furnace isn't working, but that it's 4 degrees Celsius in our home. And on the drive home, which takes a couple hours, my brain is like, oh my God, it was spiraling, like all of the things. And then I took a pause.
Say some of the worst things that were coming up.
When I say what's the absolute worst thing that could happen, my brain goes to, well, obviously there was some type of gas leak and there was an explosion and our house is burnt to the foundation. And the good thing here is that then that allows you to shift. And not that it's a known yet, but we're taking it from your brain just hopping from one scenario to the next to, okay, if we get home and our house is burnt to the ground, then what? And then what is, well, we have insurance, so we're protected. We're not going to be completely out of a house because insurance will replace it. And don't come at me with all the insurance sucks. And there's so many gaps with home insurance. But then like I could go back to the cottage and I could work there. And we have friends and family that we can stay with if we need to be in the area. We're not going to be screwed if that worst case scenario had have come true. So it's like, yes, it seems weird to take it from 0 to 100. I don't know what's going on to my house, maybe burnt down, but then it allows you to start then going into solution mode.
So that like that time between the unknown, which is all we know is the furnace temperature's low, and the known, which is getting home and actually seeing the problem, you can spend it in that heightened spiral. Everything is going to be horrible, like all of these what if scenarios. Or you can kind of grab a hold of your brain and be like, okay, what is the worst thing? All right, let's go back. So going down that path of the worst case scenario and exploring it and then putting those fears to rest and saying, yep, and if that's the case, then this. And when we get there, we will cross that bridge. Like, let's say it was something that you couldn't calm by saying, okay, there's an insurance to protect that. You can say, okay, I don't know this. Right now, worrying about it and stressing and spiraling isn't helping me, isn't helping anyone.
But telling yourself not to worry until you know is not practical for me anyways. Be like, oh, just don't worry about it until you know. Oh, yeah, okay.
But if you reach that point where you don't have an answer for the worst case because you don't know, then pivoting it somehow to be like, it's out of my control, distracting yourself. Or going, I think it's Mel Robbins. She's like, what if it does all work out? I also usually in these times, I'm like, it's okay. Like the universe, it's a life lesson. This is going to be okay. I kind of go a little spiritual on this is going to work out.
Yep. And it's okay to not be in the headspace to be able to go there as well. Maybe you're just like, I'm not ready. This is too fresh. I listed, can't remember, but probably like a dozen scenarios of what could be the issue and what would be the solution. Because like the nice thing with our ADHD brains that can catastrophize things really well is that we can also then pivot into solution mode really well and get creative with solution mode to be like, okay, if this happens, then I could do this. And the brain's still going 100 miles an hour. It's just not spiraling down the what could be wrong all of the time, because then you're like, okay, specific situation of what could go wrong, specific steps for a solution or how I would react.
Right. You give it a problem to solve. So instead of the energy going towards spiraling, it goes towards problem solving. And to Sherry's point, it's not about just being, okay, it's positive, it'll be fine, like the universe has my back. But in those times, yeah, like there's spirals where I'm like, I know I'm in a spiral. Sometimes it's just creating awareness around it and asking yourself, like, what do I need? What do I need to feel calm? That could be totally unrelated to the situation. Let's say that there's a stressor at work. I'm like, okay, what would help me right now? Go make a coffee, go for a walk, spend 5 minutes outside, go read your book for 10 pages, or just removing yourself and just checking in to see like what could just help me a little bit right now.
Yeah. Taking a few deep breaths. Recently, it came into my awareness of taking a big, full, deep breath, pausing for a second, and then just inhaling a little bit more, and then holding it for a second, and then blowing it out really slowly, ideally through, like, I'm not going to do it now because it'll annoy the mic, but ideally through pursed lips. So you're extending that exhale. Apparently, that is one of the quickest ways to reduce your heart rate. But you hit on something really good. It's like that realization that you're doing that, so that you're spiraling. Because
for how many years did you not have awareness?
Probably for so long.
So long.
I remember being so anxious. I've shared before, my previous work experience was in a manufacturing plant that was a 24/7 operation for the most part. And I just remember the anxiety of walking in the doors most days thinking, what the fuck am I walking into? And I would lay in bed at night thinking, or in the afternoon or in the morning, joys of shift work. I can see it clearly now is I was doing that. My brain was going 100 miles an hour, thinking up worst case scenarios. And
like the huge disconnect between like mind and body and nervous system, because we just didn't have the awareness.
I was in fight or flight all the time then.
Yes.
And I didn't wear like a smart device during that time, but I would love if there was, I know it's not possible, but if there was a way to go back in time and see if I was wearing a smart device then, like what my resting heart rate was and what my HRV was.
We weren't worried about sleep habits, caffeine intake.
I was just trying to get through every day. And I was setting a land speed record between the time I woke up to the time I left the house, and started dreading work. The worst was when I worked midnights and I had to start Sunday late night, like Sunday at 10:30, 11 o'clock. My whole Sunday would be ruined, because not only was I trying to sleep because I was going into a midnight shift, so trying to have a good chunk of a nap, but also that worry was coming up. What am I walking into?
Yeah.
What kind of a shit show is it going to be? And yeah, of course you can't sleep on a Sunday afternoon when you're trying to switch your schedule and when your brain is racing like that. So yeah, that intention of realizing that, oh shit, this is what I'm doing. How can I slow down or break this cycle? And maybe it's taking a minute to meditate. And as somebody who for a long time wanted to punch everybody in the face, said I should start meditating or that it was good, it actually is really helpful. For ADHD brains who like to try and do everything perfectly, you are never going to meditate perfectly, because your thoughts are going to be interrupted a million times and you're going to have to reset yourself. And it's just trying to be a little bit quieter in the brain for 5 or 10 minutes every day.
And don't be afraid to create a meditation that works differently, like that works for you. Because sometimes for me, it's walking without any podcast or anything, so no headphones, and then just noticing things around me and just walking slower. So it's not sitting necessarily and having that brain space, but it's creating brain space while I'm moving, and that tends to help me better.
Yeah, having some way to distract. You like to distract by walking, and I like to distract by laying on the mat that has hundreds of really sharp things
pokies
on it.
Freak.
that thing to calm you down and give your brain a little bit of something else to focus on, so it can slow down a little bit.
And if you're new to self-awareness, and anyone, whether you're whether you're an entrepreneur or an employee, like setting a timer every hour, every 2 hours, or having some sort of signal just to check in as you're kind of learning that connection with yourself. Or when you have a big feeling that's maybe anxiety, going and journaling about it, or just being like, hey, like, what could this be? Are all of my needs met? Which I know I talked about this last time. I forget the acronym.
Oh yeah.
Hungry. It's like hungry, angry, tired, lonely. Or like, have I moved? Do I need water? Did I have too much caffeine? Like taking a minute to say, okay, have I taken care of myself?
Yeah.
What do I need?
And because any type of hyper focus, good or bad, our time awareness just goes right out the window. Having that timer or having something that once an hour, you get up and just move a little bit for 5 minutes.
Yeah, just dance for a song.
Dance it out. Yeah. And it's so crazy. I have a little like timer on my desk that I can set anywhere from 1 minute to 60 minutes. When I've really been intentional with trying to use it when I'm in those hyper focus modes. And sometimes it will go off. I'll be like, I just set that for an hour 5 minutes ago. And it's so crazy. But yeah, being able to find those things that break you out of that mode, whether that's spiraling or just to take care of yourself, because that's, oh my God, that's so important. And I never used to do that. It was always just work.
Surviving.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's really what it was.
Like just skimming by, getting by. So when it comes to that catastrophe, that spiral, that chaos, like take a pause, find a way for you that either go down the worst case scenario and meet it with the solutions that are there, or take a minute to kind of remove yourself and give to yourself, because you're going to wear yourself down if you spend all that time in the spiral without breaks.
Yeah. If you don't take the time to take care of yourself, your body will force you to in a significant way. So
disease is dis-ease. Yeah.
Interesting. So yeah, take care of yourself, find the strategies that work for you, because there's no one size fits all, just like everything else in life. And even just taking a few deep breaths, or sometimes doing something to get your heart rate up really quickly, like doing some squat jumps or just something to shift yourself and help distract yourself when you're going down that negative spiral. Because yeah, we could stay there forever, but we have to first notice and then have those strategies that help get us out of it. So we are glad you've been here. We hope you found this episode helpful, and we hope you subscribe so you get notified of future episodes, which we publish every Thursday. We hope you have a great day, and we will see you next time.